Which goat gets targeted first? Most people think the smallest goat gets targeted first. They assume predators go after the weakest one in the herd, the runt, the baby, the one that looks fragile. That's what makes sense to us, but that's not how predators think. It's not the smallest goat, it's not the loudest goat, and it's usually not even the weakest goat. The first goat that gets targeted is the one your guardian dog isn't controlling. Predators don't choose randomly, they choose relationally. They don't just look at goats, they look at space, they look at structure, and they look at where the dog isn't. When a coyote, wolf, or mountain lion approaches a pasture, it doesn't see goats. It sees movement patterns, it sees spacing, it sees which animals drift, it sees which areas feel unclaimed. Predators are scanning for friction, not size, not noise, not even weakness at first. They're scanning for separation, because separation lowers resistance, and resistance isn't always physical. Sometimes resistance is simply positioning. Guardian dogs create invisible pressure, even when they look relaxed, even when they're laying down, even when they seem uninterested. Their presence compresses the herd. It shrinks drift, it discourages edges. The goat that drifts outside that pressure field becomes the first evaluation point, not because it's small, because it's exposed. Every herd has one. The goat that grazes 5 or 10 feet farther than the rest. The goat that pushes toward the tree line. The goat that doesn't immediately cluster when the herd lifts its heads. Predators love wanderers, because wanderers simplify the equation. If the dog isn't already influencing that edge, space, the predator doesn't need to create chaos. It only needs to create distance. This one surprises people. Goats that habitually graze along fence lines become predictable. Predators use cover, fence lines, meat cover. If your guardian dog sleeps in the center and doesn't own the perimeter, the fence goat becomes the first calculation. It's geometry, angles, distance. The goat closest to structure without dog pressure becomes the variable. Predators test reaction speed. A goat deeply focused on feed, a goat engaged in dominance pushing, a goat distracted during rut. They approach slowly, subtly, just enough to cause minor alert. Which goat lifts its head first, which goat hesitates, which goat keeps chewing. That hesitation becomes information, and if the guardian dog hasn't already shifted, selection begins. Guardian dogs don't just fight predators, they shape target selection. A perimeter patrolling dog shrinks vulnerability zones. A center sleeping dog expands edge exposure. A dog that moves before goats scatter prevents testing. A dog that reacts after goats scatter allows predators to gather data. Selection happens before the chase, before the bark, before the chaos. It happens in positioning. Some dogs bark once goats panic. Some dogs move when predators are still deciding. That difference determines which goats gets evaluated. If the dog moves first, predators adjust. If goats move first, predators commit. The goat targeted first is often the goat furthest from the dog's influence radius. Loose herds increase risk. Tight herds reduce selection clarity. When goats sleep scattered, predators evaluate individuals. When goats cluster, predators evaluate the dog. Not the goat, that's the shift. Most losses happen in darkness. Spacing increases, visibility drops, dog patrol patterns matter more than ever. If your guardian owns the perimeter at night, selection pressure drops dramatically. If the dog bonds more to a porch than to the herd, edges expand, and predators calculate. Predators remember structure. They remember which goat drifted, which fence line was weak, where the dog didn't appear quickly. If a goat is taken, immediately adjust. Feeding placement, night containment, dog patrol encouragement, brush and cover management. Break patterns before it repeats, because predators return to predictable outcomes. The smallest goat isn't automatically first. The weakest goat isn't automatically first. The goat targeted first is usually the one your system made easiest, and your system includes herd spacing, fence design, feeding location, guardian positioning, night pressure. Protection isn't about aggression, it's about structure. And structure decides which goat never gets chosen. If you enjoyed this video or if you learned something new, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.